Okay, so I was playing Roblox with my bestie, and we were playing the Your Place game. This game, so we were playing hide and seek, because there is a lot of hiding places there, so we were just minding our business in my game, and this person joined. His username was Neeb666, and he came over to me, but he was half in the floor. His character was red with flames on, but it was a one piece. When he came up to me he said hi, but he came right up to my legs, so in Roblox that looks a bit weirded, and he kept talking to me. I was like, who the truck are you? And he said I knew him. Me and my friend were like, what the fuck? Then they randomly left. Me and my friend were really scared and didn't know what to do.
So I had just been dress coded for having a singular rip on my knee, right? And the vice principal and the assistant teacher harassing me the whole time. They make me change in a room with cement walls and dirt floors. They lock me in there, make me change, and they give me pants from the Lost and Found that are 2 sizes too small and dirty, right? So the teacher's walking me back to my class. She's harassing me the whole time, making fun of me. And I get back to class and I'm just crying because I'm so humiliated. They really just brought me down. So my teacher comes up to me and she's like, what's wrong? Like, what happened? Why did they take you down to the office? What took so long? And I tell her the story, and I tell the class the story. And nobody believes me. They're like, well, some of the students did. They were like, what, really? Like, that's crazy. But the teacher was like, I'm not buying it. Like, you're lying to me. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't believe myself either. Like, that's crazy, right? So at the end of the day, I go down to the office and I ask for my pants back. And they said, no, we don't want you wearing those pants again. So I was like, okay, I'll go back another day. And I was like, okay, yeah, well, I did pay for those with my money, and I won't wear them to school again, but can I have my pants back? And they're like, no, right? So I'm like, okay. I go back the next day. Hey, can I have my pants back? No, sorry. And I was in 8th grade, so this was my last year of middle school. Up until the last day of school, they wouldn't give me my pants back. And to this day, I'm in high school now, I don't have my pants. They still have my pants.
Storytime. Our house had to be cleansed of a demonic presence. I had just gotten out of a relationship that I had been in for 5 years. I had to pack up my stuff from his house, move out, and I was mentally all over the place. One of my friends that I'll either tag below or in the comments had just bought a house during this time, so it was kind of perfect for me to move in with her. The house was beautiful, had very cottage vibes, but there was something about the shed in the back, and I'll insert a picture. It was filled with religious symbols and Mod Podge all over the wall. There was lights in there like people were trying to grow, and it just seemed like a lot of teenage experimentation happened back there. But overall, the house was nice and was totally checked out by the inspector. Soon after I started to move in, that's whenever spots would occur on the ceiling. It was happening a lot on my side of the house as if there was water damage. However, we didn't know where the water damage was coming from, and she had the house inspected. This is when she started to have extremely vivid nightmares that bled over into the day. She would wake up and see shadowy figures hanging over her. I kind of just thought she was tired due to night shift at first, but that's when I got my first sleep paralysis episode. It gets way worse, so stay tuned for part 2 and follow me on it. Storytime part 2 of our house being cleansed of a demonic presence. So my roommate's nightmares and hallucinations were getting worse and worse. When she would drive home from work, she one time literally thought someone was hurting themselves in the car next to her, and then would walk into the house and see something standing over her. But again, we just thought she was tired due to night shift. However, a few days later, I ended up waking up and not being able to move my body. All I could do was look around the room, and I felt someone petting me. All I could do was lay there while this thing talked to me and pet my head. But I could never see her. And I know it was a her because it was a female's voice. This had me freaked out and not wanting to sleep for days. But soon I was able to get over it and forget it. One night whenever I came back with one of my guy friends, we walked into the house and from the back we heard, hey, are there any people here? We both just looked at each other like, oh my god, did you actually just hear that? Except I heard it in a female voice and he heard it in a male voice. He told me to stay right there and he scanned the area to make sure that there weren't any people there. And there weren't. We knew this was getting bad and we were going to have to call someone. So my roommate called up someone. Storytime part 3 of our house having to be cleansed of a demonic presence. So my friend reached out to a lady that she knew and told her the situation, told her about the house, and the lady was very intuitive. She knew that we were not going through very good times in our life and that there was probably something here feeding off of us. On top of that, it was gaining energy from a negative male presence. And she mentioned that potentially this male presence could have been doing drive-bys, just like my ex had been doing. She said she'd be there in a few days, but that the rotting of the house was going to get worse. A few days later, on a day that I know that my ex came by, the entire roof in one of the rooms collapsed, and I'll insert a picture. So she was right. By the time it got to her coming, she was able to examine the house and give us a full assessment. I guess whatever teenage experimentation was going on in the shed ended up letting in something and then was feeding off of our weakness. Not only that, but the spirits were watching my roommate from her window looking into her mirrors, which faced her bed, so make sure you never have mirrors facing your bed. The exorcism included absolutely everything you can think of, and the issues we were having stopped for the most part after this. Stay safe and follow me on Instagram.
Story time about this girl who faked being Latina. So there was this girl who went to my school. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is the queen of lies. In every subject we talk about, Sarah always, and I mean always, comes up with a lie that has to do with her life. Here's an example. What if we're talking about Tom Holland? She'd just come in and say, "Oh yeah, Tom Holland is my dad's friend. I met him once." You know, these types of lies. Another one is when she told everyone she's Latina. It was lunchtime in school, and we were talking about where we went for the summer. Sarah tells us that she went to Spain, and she started telling us on what she did there, and says that she's 50% Latina. She also said that she lived in Spain for 6 years, and if there is any person who lived in Spain for 6 years, they must know how to speak Spanish. And then my friend Kayla asked her, what does good morning mean in Spanish? We all know it's buenos dias. And my friend Kayla asked Sarah, what does good morning mean in Spanish? And then Sarah looks at us, looks back at her food, and said, I don't know, I'm still taking Spanish lessons. And we just look at her, that she doesn't even know what good morning means in Spanish. If she had lived in Spain for 6 years, she would have known what it meant. I don't know how, but that incident has spread around the entire school. Every person that walks past Sarah just says, Buenos dias, basically teasing her about not knowing what good morning means in Spanish. And then Sarah didn't show up to school for 3 days after that. And oh boy, we haven't even gotten to the crazy part. The 3 days pass, and Sarah comes back to school. As soon as she walks into the class, everyone's eyes was on her. She came up, sat in her seat, and this lady showed up to school. So after 3 days of Sarah not coming to school, she showed up in a crop top, skinny jeans, fake nails, and fake lashes. And her hair was in a bun with edges. Yes, you heard me, edges. This lady is white. And in lunchtime, she took out a bag of hot Cheetos and some dipping sauce. I don't know if this was supposed to make us think she's Latina, but trust me, it didn't work. All of the freshmen and sophomores took out their phone and started filming her. This is where I kind of felt bad, but she ran to the bathroom crying, and she just stayed there and didn't show up to any classes for the rest of the day.